All right, at this time, I'd like to start the Lapel Planning Advisory Commission. Today's date's Thursday, August 13th. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time, I'd like to do a roll call. I assume right now I just do the roll call. Matt Wood, here.
Justin Mays here.
Yes, just go through.
Alicia West present.
Chrissy Workman here.
Andrea Baldwin here.
Dan Plumley here.
All right, adoption of minutes. Do we have any minutes to adopt?
Did send some. I didn't print them out, but I believe I sent some.
Yes, you did.
April 9th, June 15th, July 9th. What's that?
Yeah, I gotta bring them up here.
I know the transcribed.
Yeah. As far as it looks, we all got we've all been here.
Just let me know when you guys are had time to review. I'm looking myself. Yeah, I've read through them. I'll just double checking.
I apologize. It was working. Oh my God. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Is anybody still reading?
I'm good. I'm sorry. It was my fault.
No, you're fine.
I missed that.
Need a motion?
Yeah, I'm just making sure everybody's read. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the Lapel Planning Commission minutes for April 9th, June 15th, and July 9th.
I'll second.
Matt. Yes.
Justin.
Justin.
Yes.
Seems weird.
I'm horrible with names right now.
Alicia, yes.
Chrissy, yes.
Andrea, yes.
Dan, yes.
I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
It's great work.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I'm glad my phone didn't know what it was. Agenda considerations. I make a motion to add to the agenda tonight to vote in a secretary from the board.
Second.
Matt, yes.
Justin, yes.
Alicia.
Yes.
Chrissy, yes.
Christy, yes.
Yes.
Andrea, yes.
Dan, yes.
Yes. All right. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and talk about who do we want to make as our secretary. I was informed that it can be someone on the board.
Yep.
So
I don't mind to do it. but I will be missing the next meeting. I will miss the September meeting.
I think whoever we need to do it, we need like a backup person too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from the standpoint of the minutes, Dan's doing them off of the
Computer or up the
thingy
video.
now, so you're not gonna miss anything there. I'm not sure.
Maybe it's just for roll calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really bad with names. I panic in there.
I don't think you can since you're president, can you?
No.
I'm biased, so.
We'll just go with you. Is anybody
Or Melissa, you wanna do it?
as the backup?
I say, Dan, do you want it?
No. I've got a pretty full plate right
Yeah,
now.
Dan got like 5 other rules.
Yeah.
Someone's got to nominate. And we'll vote on that.
All right.
Roll call.
I nominate Christy for secretary.
I'll second.
Matt? Yes. Oh, sorry. I gotta give myself a yes. This is odd.
Is it? Justin, yes.
Alicia, yes.
Do I vote Christie? Yes.
Andrea, yes.
Dan, yes.
So do you want me to do the roll call for the rest of the meeting?
Yep, you got it. All right. Next on the agenda is public comment. This time I'd like to open it up if anybody wants to talk about anything. 3, 2, 1. Nope. All right. Old business. We have a public hearing on housing standards. This is a continuance from last meeting.
Yes. So one of the documents I provided you all was just a memo summarizing what we talked about last time, since it was a month ago, and summarizes the votes that were taken. So definitely let me know if you're taking a look at that and it doesn't square with how you remember things going. Definitely let me know. I want to make sure that that's recorded properly so I know what our next steps are. But in the meantime, we can pick up where we left off, which I believe was within the factor concerning allowing accessory dwelling units, manufactured or modular housing, and other housing types. We were in that other housing types discussion. I know, well, before I get into that, I know we had decided to table discussing manufactured home parks. Do we still want to keep that for a later time, or or are we ready to revisit that now?
I forget why we tabled it. Remind me.
I think because we spent a long time talking about individual manufactured homes, like on individual lots. And I think the decision to table that was, basically at the end of the meeting anyway. So it was
Okay.
like we're continuing the whole.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember back. Wasn't there discussion about putting it under R3, which is multi-use, and then we were going to do it as a special use under multi? Does that sound correct?
I think that did come up. I might have suggested that. I do remember that being brought up. I don't think it was something that was decided though.
I don't think it was either.
I guess, we can't vote on anything because we got to open it for public comment first. So we just need to remember what we.
We had to allow further discussion for the R1, R2, and ag.
Yeah, I think we decided we couldn't do ag because the
Yeah.
residential dwellings were
So-
accessory to the farming operation.
Yeah.
And we said we didn't want to do R2 because that was large lots.
Large.
Yeah.
More expensive
So
real
I
estate.
think we thought about as an R3 is more of like, instead of putting apartments, you could put, or multifamily dwellings, you could put in a trailer park, but then that was a special use, so it still had to get BZA voted on. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are there. I think also side note, and correct me if we cannot do this, but being that we don't have a big audience tonight,
And you
Can-
have a quorum.
and we have a
for
court
that.
on this with the public comment, can we open it up for public comment multiple times? That way I can open it, close it, vote, and we'll do it on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to verify. I thought we could, but
Yeah, that's what we did. That's what we were doing at the last.
I thought so, but I just wanted.
So thinking through the special use piece, why would we make it a special use?
Say we had a nice, Main Street, or not Main Street. Say we have a nice area where we'd be okay with some nice apartments or duplexes or something. Right? Not duplexes, but apartments, townhomes, different things like that. Just because we would be okay with an apartment complex, we might not be okay with a trailer park.
No, I agree with that. I'm just
So the
wondering-
special use would just be an extra. I mean, it's just like the LKQ with industrial, right? It's
Yeah.
just an extra. Hey, somebody else gets to vote on this and think about this.
I guess I'm just wondering though, like from a legal standpoint, if just, if it's zoned for that in that zoning, if it's zoned R3.
It's only zone.
Can we say just on the basis of we don't want it there?
I mean,
'Cause I mean, that's what I'm asking. I'm just wondering like.
we're not. A special use can get voted down for any reason, right?
So special use, there are criteria upon which the BZA has to make a determination that they can to approve a special use. So it's not like it's not like a fully discretionary process where you can just say, oh, I don't like it here, I don't want it here.
Oh,
So it's a no. There's like findings of fact that you have to come to, and if you make those findings, then you've got to approve the.
So what findings would you find? I mean,
So it's that the standard that they're not bad for the public health, safety, morals, etc. Then there's that they won't negatively impact the surrounding properties.
which I guess you could get that one based on housing values or property values.
And then the third one is
Does it line up with the comp plan?
I think it's something like that. I'm getting like the
like
special
5
use,
of them,
the
right?
special use and the
Yeah.
variance of use ones kind of mixed up in my head. There's only 3 criteria for a special use. I just went over this on Tuesday, but it's already mixed up in my head.
For the property value, is there a kind of a time frame allotment for that?
Not necessarily.
So it's from the time it's built, so it's.
Yeah, so- Generally, that's kind of there's not any sort of window or limit or like statute of limitations or something like that set on how far in the future you look as to do we think it's going to be harmful for property values. But economics is not a perfectly exact science anyway, so you might think it's going to turn out a certain way. And what does it say there?
Yeah, the approval will not harm public health, safety, or general welfare. Any requirements and development standards for the requested use and prescribed by the ordinance will be met. Approval will not subvert the general purposes of the UDO and will not permanently harm other properties or uses in the same zoning district and in the surrounding areas. And the requested use will be consistent with the character of its zoning district and the comprehensive plan. There you go.
The only reason that I raise that is that I wonder if someone could make a case that it was unfairly burdening them to have to put them through the BCA process for something that you've already, because we have to put them somewhere, right? Is
I
that what the
mean-
law says now? We have a choice. We have to put them somewhere. We can't say we don't want them.
Well, I mean, if they're my reading of at least HEA 1001 is it doesn't require us to necessarily allow any particular kind of housing, and I don't know if there's. I don't think Indiana is a state that has adopted a what they call inclusionary zoning requirements. Some states make it so that you can't prohibit certain kinds of, or that you can't prohibit any kinds of housing. All kinds of housing have to be able to be built somewhere in your community. But I don't think Indiana is a state that requires that.
On a different note, the fact that like what you're arguing against, everybody that you ever give a special use requirement for could argue that no matter what the topic is. LKQ could argue that if that was a true argument, not just housing.
But
I
they
guess-
were to me harmful for public health.
No, I agree, but I'm saying the argument of that we're making them step through a hoop just because we don't want them. I mean, that's an argument
Well,
for
if we don't want
everything.
them and we don't have to have them, why don't we just say we don't want them?
Then
Why
you
did-
take away all their permitted, I mean, because they're permitted in
In
4
Marcellus?
places.
No, this would just be a park.
According to this,
Oh,
we
not
already
single
have that
lots.
Yeah.
special
Okay.
use
Can you even build a single lot?
in the
You can build
UDO.
a
Does
single
that sound
lot.
right? It says
Mobile.
here, I'm using Notebook LM, and it says that does exactly this in the R3 district, and it says multifamily is permitted, but mobile home requires special use. And that is in volume 1,
Currently.
section 1 and section 2.
But
Yeah.
that's a mobile home, not necessarily a trailer park.
It says mobile home and or mobile home parks
Okay.
as special use.
Well, then
And
that
that's
seems to
in
resolve the issue.
That it's currently
Volume.
already in there.
volume 1 and volume 5 both reference it. So it sounds like that's already in
So
there.
we don't really need to change it.
So we don't need to change it.
That
But-
would be so much nicer.
You know, the whole point of this is having a discussion. So if it's already in there and that's fine with everybody,
And it does say the wording is they do have to go before the BZA to get
Yeah.
a special use
Yeah.
case
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to pause the planning commission and open it up for public comment. You're the only one here, so do you have any comment?
What is considered a trailer park in terms of how many trailers or mobile homes can be on it? What's the lot size? Answer that. And I might ask questions that you guys are thinking.
No, you're good. You can ask whatever. We might not know the answer right off the bat, but
there's no
No specifics.
there's no specific like requirement as far as minimums or maximums in terms of how many manufactured homes are in the community.
I would say though, because we've already established that R3 is multifamily, so it's 3 or more dwelling units, then at that point we'd be 3 or more trailers as well.
Right. That's a
And there
good
is
point.
lot size for.
And then whatever the specific per dwelling unit lot size requirement exists in the zoning district. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head what the number is, but
Is a trailer park considered
In the
a business?
no.
Not a private
It's the same.
building?
It's the same thing as like having an apartment building.
That's still business owned if you have an apartment, but it still counts as residential as
It's a-
housing.
It's a residential use. Yeah.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll close the public hearing and open up the planning or continue the planning commission. So at this point, are we just saying we want to leave it?
That's what I would think.
I say we-
And then official, all in favor, aye?
All in favor? Is that what I
Aye.
say? All in favor, aye?
Yeah.
I don't know, I've not done that yet.
I don't know.
Or
I
no?
mean, we're not really voting. We're all agreeing that we're leaving
Yeah, I
it.
mean, it's really just, we're not changing
What
it.
does
Yeah.
it say down on the end? He's awful quiet tonight.
The lawyer or Dan?
Yeah,
Our lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, you don't
He's
need to
good.
vote if you're not changing it.
No. So
If someone wanted to change it, you would make a motion to change it. So I guess that.
next topic.
All right. So the next topic is other housing types. Under this provision, I bring up 2 additional housing types that are currently not allowed in the ordinances, which are what are known as cottage courts. Excuse me, and then tiny homes as well as tiny.
It's cottage courts, like those little bitty cottage homes, like what they were trying. That one guy was trying to do.
So it's basically, you basically have a little courtyard space, and then you build a bunch of smaller homes around the outside.
We had someone that wanted to do
around
that
the
here.
outside of that. And you can generally treat them the way that you would basically treat like a townhome community or any kind of or even like a condo or something like that. If the actual homes are to be rented as opposed to bought, that makes it functionally like a mobile home park or a manufactured home park or like an apartment building. If the cottages are for sale, I think there's like a specific legal structure that those kind of properties have to take. But basically, in order to allow a cottage court, aside from just allowing that, listing that in the allowed uses, we would also need to adopt standards that provide possibly for exceptions from like minimum dwelling areas, minimum lot areas per unit requirements. We might have to I think those would be the only standards that would likely need some kind of exception for a cottage court in a situation, or exception for tiny homes as well. Because obviously, those being, I think the state defines tiny homes as a dwelling that is 400 square feet or less. So that's, I think, half as much as the smallest minimum dwelling area.
So is that what a cottage court is? Is it 400? Is
So
that a specification of that?
It
or is
doesn't have to be that small. You could build a cottage court with like 750 square feet houses or 900 square feet houses.
It's just centered. Is that all it is?
They're
It's just centered
it's-
around
it's
a
really-
specific.
It's really the idea is that these are small houses.
They're like
So-
permanent tiny
so
homes.
They're like, 1 bedrooms.
Okay.
Maybe small 2 bedrooms, but it's like basically like a 1-story house, 1 bedroom. It's for singles or elderly folks. And then they have this like shared communal
So-
green space in the center of their little community.
What would be the difference? Sorry, what would be the difference between that and like an assisted living? Are you talking like
So the main,
obviously one big building or?
yeah, so that's the main difference is the form.
And it doesn't have to be assisted living. It
Sure, no.
Because it would be separate buildings, then you do have the ability to then actually parcel off each of the cottages onto its own lot, and then have essentially a homeowner association that manages the green or the court, and then the owners that own their individual cottage and yard.
So you guys might not be aware, but this has actually been brought up here in the town of Lapel before. We had an individual at one point who had an investor that was going to wanted to do something with the lot across from the high school like other people have. And they wanted to do a PUD, and they wanted to have houses. They wanted to have duplexes that were 55 and older community, and then they were going to do these cottages and they were going to do them on single lots and have an open community center in the middle with its own set of HOA rules originally. So this has, I just want to let you guys know this has been something that somebody within the town has brought to the town before.
Yeah, they're becoming more and more popular with the older communities. People get to the point where they don't want to care for the yards.
And they're also becoming very popular with the younger community too. The historic east side of Indianapolis is like that. Pogues Run. I mean, it's a great opportunity for our younger community and our older community to embrace a home that doesn't cost near as much, that doesn't have near as much upkeep, that really focuses on that community, activities.
Like community gardens.
Yes, yes.
And they can look like little bitty beach houses or whatever.
Right. I feel like it's a good.
I'm not against them.
Why wouldn't they be handled like a PUD though?
So the PUD was because there was multiple styles going into one property.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm just wondering if it.
So they could be handled like a PUD, but it's been a long time since I've looked at the eligibility requirements for PUDs, but
I don't think that would qualify because it's all the same.
I think there's a minimum I think there's a minimum parcel size for a property that can be subdivided to make a PUD, and there might the other thing about it is like when you're doing a PUD, the assumption, and in fact maybe the ordinance even specifically requires it, but you would need there is the expectation that you are subdividing. And so, like I said, you can do that with a cottage court, but you could also decide to organize a cottage court in a way that functions essentially like an apartment building where you're not selling the individual units, so you wouldn't want them to be on separate parcels. And in that situation, you wouldn't do a subdivision, so you wouldn't probably want to go through the PUD process. So they're possible through a PUD, but the idea here would be that by making it a permitted use in some zoning districts, and then establishing whatever standards we want to establish for them, a person who wants to develop that can, buy their land, get their building permit, and start building, as opposed to having to go through the process of getting a PUD approved, because that's plan commission, then that's town council.
So
But this is, I guess, where I'm confused. So let's just take R2, for example. It was what? Help me remember. It was third of an acre, half of an acre.
12,000 square feet.
Okay. So if we put it in R2, because we're not going to put it in R1, right?
no, it wouldn't even come close to R1. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're going to put it in R2, then and you're not gonna, it's not gonna be a PUD because they're gonna do it as one lot.
Well, they're going to do it as one lot. So this is where
Have individual parcels.
I think it's going to be, you're going to have it in two spots. I think if you had individual lots, you could potentially put it in R2. If you're going to do as like a rental where it's all under one lot, it would then fall under an R3. So I think depending on the use, whether it's going to be subdivided or left whole, depends if it goes into R3 or not.
That sounds reasonable to me.
That was my question, because I'm thinking if you're gonna put even R2, you have a minimum lot size.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're gonna say, okay, well, we're gonna do it in R2, would it be R2 if by the time you subdivided it, they're still going to get a variance because it wouldn't meet the minimum lot size?
So I think this
Am I
is
making sense?
That's what I was saying about you would need to have provisions in the ordinance that provide for exceptions for.
Yeah.
I feel that in both categories, this is my opinion. Everybody can argue against it. I think if you were to have them as single sold lots, we do it in R2 as a special use. And if we had it as one lot like rentals, then it would be a multi-dwelling at that point. and it would be under an R3 and we'd still throw it under a special use.
I agree with the R3 part. I'm still trying to think through the R2 part with the, because it's so small. It's so
Yeah, you would have to have somebody purchase the land and then parcel it out and sell each individual lot to an owner.
Exactly.
And that to me doesn't make sense.
Well-
It would make sense in 3.
Or we just don't allow it. Parcel it out.
I like it in 3. I kind of look at it like, yeah, if someone comes in and wants to build a community
And
like
you
that,
do it
that's
like
fine.
a rental.
You do it like a rental, but I don't foresee or even it be feasible that somebody has a property and they parcel it out to 15 different small parcels and sell that to 15 people. And then whatever HOA is over that or whatever building code is over that, I don't think that's feasible.
Would that,
But then you're
that dip into
removing
the
the
PUD that way?
capability of
What?
The way
your
he's
younger
saying
and
it,
older generation
because it
being
does
able
say
to
that
own
we
their
can
own
have
property.
multiple ownership under a PUD if everyone is contractual under it. So it says that it says a PUD can be proposed on a parcel or parcels controlled by a single landowner, but the site does not have to be under single ownership. If multiple owners are involved, they must have a contractual agreement.
That's the property owners though. So that's saying like if you own 20 acres and I own 20 acres, we can put part of it on yours and part of it on mine
Okay.
and you own your portion, I own my portion, but
So
it's
that
all
doesn't
one
fit with what
PUD.
he- okay, that makes sense.
That's my understanding of that.
No, that makes total sense.
Yeah, that's referring kind of to, that's what I was talking about as far as like the eligibility requirements for what kinds of parcels can we put a PUD on. Because yeah, once the PUD is established, you can then subdivide that into pieces and sell off each of the pieces and all of that. And I suppose even in that situation, the bill of sale and the deed represents a contractual agreement. I mean, you sign on to the homeowners association agreement, all of that. So,
Alicia was making a good point though. What were you saying?
I was just saying that if we remove the capability of the property owner not being able to own their own piece of the land, so to speak, then you're removing affordable housing from your younger generation and your older generation. Because I mean, let's face it, in today's world, with the rent being the price that it is, I mean, kids my daughter's age feels like they can't get their own piece of the pie because everything is so expensive. So if we put more constraints and I feel like we have this big gap of, you know, the elderly community and we have a younger 30s community, and people are looking to this neighborhood to build and own their piece of the pie. If we put constraints on that removes that, then that's lessening the ability for those demographics to be able to buy property and establish their home.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I would say that we went through this, what was it, 6 months ago when Arbor wanted to build that over there by the high school, and it was a resounding, the town didn't want it because it was basically too small. It was like,
There's too many homes on
there's
two
too many
lots.
homes, they're too small. So I mean, I guess to an extent, this wouldn't be that, obviously.
Yeah.
This would be a smaller.
Those are skinny tall homes.
Which raises
Yeah.
a good point. I mean, I like the idea of it being a minimum, like if we were to put a restriction on it that
8, for
said
example.
a certain number of cottages on a certain minimum lot size.
Exactly.
And then it could be subdivided. I don't like the idea of saying, okay, well, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna pack 5 homes into a quarter acre. I don't
Well,
think that's safe.
But that starts going into how much property, what's the lot size required. There's a lot more that goes into that once we start doing that,
Can
which we plan on doing anyways. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If we allow it in R2, it's not just a simple, okay, it's allowed. There's going to be a lot more that goes into that.
yeah,
How big are the lot
So we'd have to
sizes?
write a whole. okay.
Correct.
So I like that. I like the idea of allowing it, but I also like the idea of allowing it,
Parameters.
keeping it small.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking maybe 20 max or something like that, that makes sense to me. But when they were talking about putting 107 homes on 25 acres, and out of that 25 acres, 10 of it was gonna be green space and infrastructure.
Correct.
I started thinking, one house catches on fire, it's gonna be like a string of firecrackers.
You're thinking more where people are buying property than square footage at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's been a shift, if you look 2 generations ago, wealth was in the land, not as much the size of the house. People understood, they make houses every day, they're not making any more land. But as the generations went on, it's more, I want the biggest house I can get on the smallest one mower.
It's because they don't want to pay for the land.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it is. They're not. It's not about the long term value of the
Or they
land.
can't because it's so outrageous.
Yeah.
So with a proposal like that, if you allow, Marcellus, are these 400 square foot homes, or these 800 or less? Is that what the parameter is for cottage homes, 800 or less?
There's not any specific definition of what counts as a cottage. That's entirely up to the commission to decide, like, if there's what size range we're targeting here. Like I said, I think the median new home size in the United States is, if not over 2,000, like approaching 2,000 square feet. So like something under 1,000 feet is a cottage in a lot of people's minds. And 900 square feet is, I mean, I live in a reasonable sized apartment, and it's like 800 something square feet. So like that's kind of what we're talking about.
At this time, I'd like to pause the planning commission meeting and open it up for public comment. You're fine. No, you're all good. Since we have public comment, I gotta wait for it.
Does that, I totally agree with you that you want to offer homes to all people. I guess my question is, does that bring in a certain family that is bound to leave at a certain time, which is not a bad thing? Does that also bring in an older family that is going to be not necessarily stuck, but again, they're there for long term? Again, not a bad thing. I'm just proposing questions here. And then does it bring in a certain level of finance that is maybe lower income based, just based on the size of the home? Right? Because that's your whole argument is we want to keep it lower.
Well, that's true, yes. However, with this new bill that's been, AG, 1001, we have to be very mindful of making those types of homes more difficult for people. And that's what's created this whole discussion, is making sure that we're not making it harder for those types of people to build homes and to establish their homes and their properties based on those parameters.
I do feel that you are correct, right or wrong, good or bad. I do think you are potentially bringing in lower income, potentially. Now that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It's just the truth. I think your majority of people who are going to buy these are either people whose kids are moved on, like grown up and out of school, or people who are single or don't have kids.
Right.
And would the idea be to parcel this land out still within the city limits so that I have city water, or do I have to now have a septic and a well on each one of these plots, or one total plot? And these might be questions down the line.
That would be something that,
If it was
know
multi,
where it
it couldn't be a
is.
septic. If it was multi-unit, it would have to be on a
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
I mean, the agricultural district is, to my knowledge, the only district that allows you to be on septic.
yeah.
Any other zoning district requires you to be on public utilities.
Mhm.
So I do agree with what you're saying, but I would say this, I question whether it would attract people of lower income or if it would better serve people already existing in the community. So for example, if you have people who are currently occupying larger homes, they're reaching that point in age where it hurts to go up and down the stairs, it hurts to mow the grass, which is younger than a lot of people imagine. And they now are in a position where.
I'm 35. It hurts now.
Right, where they're ready to downsize.
45.
They could do that without leaving the community and potentially sell their home to another young family that's gonna come in. And then, we are seeing people move out of the community now because they're moving to these over 55 patio homes. And we don't necessarily have that. Likewise, we're seeing younger people move to surrounding communities because there's less expensive housing available. Almost all of our extended family now lives in Tipton or Elwood because they could sell their house here and buy a better house there, so it's less expensive, So I do think there's a niche to support our local community, but I also do question whether the return that we would receive in terms of tax revenue would offset the impact to the infrastructure, whether it's the impact to the school, whether it's the impact to sewer and water. I mean, I know you do recover the initial impact through impact fees, but the long-term impact, especially if you have an opportunity to do that or do a development that's going to be of a higher assessed value, which is going to bring in more revenue.
You're talking to us or talking to him? Because
Just in general.
it's public comment still.
Sorry, saying to everybody.
No, top of my head.
I'm sorry, did I?
No, I just wanted to make sure before we switch that we.
But that I see your point kind of both ways. I do see that there is a need because I've got those kids living in my house too that can't afford to move out.
My 6-year-old's struggling.
Yeah. And I've got a mom who's getting real ready to move in with me, and I would love to be able to put her down the road in something like that and have her close enough, but
She
not
heard
in my
that.
house.
So Alicia, was Alicia correct?
Yes.
Is the biggest draw to just have more availability? Is that what it is? Just bring additional people in, be more inclusive, just have more availability. People have a home. Because I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement, but also still respecting the parameters that we have set forth. But yeah.
And can you describe, I guess, what your vision is? And I know that does not matter, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Is that around a small lake and you're thinking maybe a 55 and older? Is it maybe, piece by piece? Is it really I just want smaller houses at a smaller price point and better people?
I think something like, I don't know how to word this to make sense. You know what the Dells neighborhoods is for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Very fancy, nice homes. They have the huge community. They have all these activities. I would think that on an extremely small scale, like affordability rise, right? Not a fancy lodge with indoor outdoor pools, but something that has maybe a small community center where they can gather and have little events, or you could, you have community gardens and basically almost like a little miniature community park in the middle of it. That's my view.
But my view is two. Mine would be a 55 and older community where, if they wanted to do a community garden, to have the lake, to have, pickleball court.
Yes, I was thinking it, but I hadn't said it.
A pickleball court.
We're getting old.
No, we are. With that type of atmosphere for elderly community. And then on the retrospect, really a different spot maybe, but within the same zone, really focusing on the late 20, early 30s community, a community garden, arts, Pogue's Run on the east side of Indy is phenomenal. They have really built up their community involvement. Doing festivals, doing Lakeside or Lakeview, is it Lakeview of Florida? It's just exploded as far as how much it's grown, but that is a grand scale of a community that has, they have food trucks every Friday. They have, cornhole tournaments, stuff the younger communities like to do, outdoor events for, concerts, things like that, really getting our community involved.
Almost like Seaside, Florida, if you think of that. They've
Yeah.
done all the cottages all down through there.
I
With
feel like
shopping.
it could be both. embracing both.
I think we should go to Florida and take a look at these
I
first
like the way you think.
before we make a decision.
So, thank you for that.
Yes.
So is there any, just a thought process, because like trying to think potential
Is
downside.
this
Close.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
It's okay.
Well, I have to close it and make it back to the commission. I have to
So
separate
you
the
guys
two.
can't even weigh into a question?
We can wait into question to you,
I was bringing up.
but long as it's still dialogue.
Stays in the lane.
Yeah.
Stays in the lane.
I apologize.
Now, typically, things that aren't public hearing issues, we kind of do this because I allow the public to speak through anyways. But since this is specifically a public hearing where it's meant to have time to address the public, I have to separate the two.
I'll stop
You're fine. It's only you, so we're good. This time I'd like to close the public hearing and continue the planning commission.
I was just thinking through, like, I love the idea of what this is intended to be. Is there anything we can do to keep this from turning into short-term rentals like Airbnbs or?
So, question for you at this point. And sorry if I'm asking too much, you can tell me. Is there any way I think the R3 part, we're pretty much all in agreement on. The R2 part, is there any way you can do some more homework on this and we can table that part of it? And maybe give an outlook of what that could look like? Does that work for everybody?
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Oh my
I
God.
said something to Andrea. I missed what you said.
I know you're always saying
So
something.
sorry.
Do you want to, we can potentially make a motion tonight for the R3, because I think we're all pretty much in agreement on that, it sounds like. R2, we table it and Marcellus is going to do some more homework into what that could look like what other areas have done as far as regulations. And then we can talk about it more next month. But we still need to look into what the lot size, I mean, more detail if you're going to buy a lot.
Yeah, and Marcellus, maybe this is a question where do these have to be two separate things as cottage versus tiny home? Can that be one thing? I don't see, I could see that being combined and this being like, hey, listen, this is a community of
Tiny
smaller
homes.
homes.
Yeah, no, cottage courts and tiny homes don't have to be separate.
I think we should keep them
You can-
the same.
You can have a
Can we call it something? We can call it small
Or you-
town home or something like
or
that,
you just
whatever it
say
is.
both.
We can call it what it is and say anything less than 1,000 square feet
yeah.
is this.
The main reason why I call them out separately and why we kind of talk about them separately is cottage court really describes a form, and tiny home describe, like, especially because the state has a specific definition of what is a tiny home.
Sure.
A tiny home is a specific.
And tiny home is technically on wheels, right?
Yeah, that's what I
It
was
has a
gonna say.
definition, the tiny home does,
As-
as far as square footage.
Yeah, it's 800
Yeah.
square feet.
It's
Four-
under four. It's 400
sorry.
or under. So you can allow the cottage court form without allowing homes to get that small, if that's what you wanted to do. But you could also allow cottage courts that allow homes that are that small. You could allow manufactured home parks that allow homes that
You know
small.
what? Do we just want to table all this and let Marcellus look into what other city regulations are?
I think the concern is that if we
Right.
allow it in R2 from the perspective, because they're saying if we allow it in R3, they can't parcel it off because it has to be multi-family.
Right.
And if we allow it in R2 so that they can parcel it off, we need some definitions around what that looks like, which, help me remember, isn't there some rule that says that if you can only subdivide something so many times in the county?
There is.
So isn't all of R2 already subdivided?
So I don't understand that rule, because how in the world half this property do we know how many times it's been subdivided in its lifetime?
They usually
Half of it's not even tracked properly.
those rules usually establish a like origin date. So it's like the lot as it exists at this date, that's when you start tracking. So like for example in Lapel, you know, we just recently changed the formerly administrative, now minor residential subdivision procedure. And that's only available for a property that has not been subdivided since January 1st, 2010.
For a minor, yes.
Right. So like that's usually how that works. Is there's usually like a start date that's like this is when we start tracking. Any subdivisions that occurred before that date, we're not concerned about. And that's when you start counting them up. And I'm not familiar with what the max is, or if there is a max. The way that Lapel handles it is it's simply that if the property has already been subdivided, then it can't be subdivided through the minor residential subdivision. It has to be a major. But you can still subdivide it.
So what if, so again, like you were saying, R3, we're all pretty much in agreement on. What if we make it a special use for R2? Like instead of like just make it a special
I
use.
agree, but you still need parameters for that special use.
You still need to figure out your dwelling size.
Cause
That
it'll have to meet.
in your property square footage and everything. If there's more to special uses, just a voting on yes
Well,
or
yeah,
no.
I'm just that's where I'm leaning towards because and I hear what you guys are saying.
And I'm agreeing for the special use, but we still can't vote on it until we set up what.
set up what it
Cause
is.
like,
Sure.
see,
And then the minimum dwelling.
You can if you want to. That's what at the last meeting, for example, you voted to allow ADUs, but also instructed me to
Oh,
start
that's
the process of coming up with what those regulations.
I
around
forgot.
ADUs
I
are.
forgot we could do
So you
that.
can do that.
ADU, we did the short-term rentals.
So if you are ready to decide whether or not to allow them, you can make that vote, and we can
Then
revisit the standards part.
Because
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
hear, and the only thing I'm concerned about with R2 is, and kind of what you guys are saying, like if we focus on, let's say like retirement, like 65 plus, and we talk about Florida. The thing with Florida is they're the retirement capital of the world. If we try to do that here in R2 and we say, hey, we're a 65 plus community of 20 homes in a town our size, would be more than likely very difficult to fill. Like you would have to.
But that's where you would want to bump the age back to maybe 50.
Sure, 50 or something like that. Yeah. But even then, if you're gonna say this is going to be a very specific, even 50, you are getting rid of this huge pool of people that might purchase the property by saying you have to be 50 plus. So I'm just saying, if we look at it that way, we might be kind of hurting ourselves by saying we're going to allow this person to buy this or these people to parcel this out, and then we have 15 parcels sit for 6 years
But keep
because
in mind-
that's my only thing.
We don't have to have 15 parcels.
Sure.
It
Sure.
could be
A single parcel.
It could be, like 8.
Yeah,
Start small.
I want
see how it
to
goes.
emphasize here that the idea behind a cottage court is that it's the kind of development that fits into a more urban environment. We're not talking about building out like even 10 cottages is maybe too many.
Right.
We're talking about closer to like 4, 6, maybe 8 is really the size of development we're talking about here.
At this point, see, I'm just gonna throw this out here. I would entertain a motion, if anybody wants to make one, to allow single partial sorry, oh my gosh. Cottages and tiny homes is what I meant to sound, not townhomes, and tiny homes. Under a special use of R3 and subdivided parcels under R2 special use.
I don't like the tiny home part. And I'll tell you what, most of the tiny homes are essentially manufactured mobile
Okay.
homes, whatever.
So
So I think
let's
if
remove the
you're
tiny home then.
gonna do multi, you know what I'm saying? Aren't you basically looking at a trailer court?
Okay, then I mean, yes and
But
no. I mean,
I'm
they're built
curious,
different.
Am I off base here?
I mean, a type 2 manufactured home, but on the minimum floor area required by definition would qualify as a tiny home.
Yeah,
All right, well, let's just do the cottages then.
because I do like the cottages, and I'll be honest, I think what you're most likely gonna end up with is condos. Like, somebody's gonna do that and rent them.
Marcellus, I can tell you of a neighborhood that's close by. Hartford City, Indiana has the same exact, it's a retirement community. There is a main shared space, and there's like 8 little spots that's surrounded by it. I think it's called Heritage Point. Check it out, see what.
Yeah.
But it's small. It's like what they have done is they built around a pond with a fountain and all the frillies, and they've had like 8 homes, and then and Hartford City's smaller. Probably at the time that this was developed, it was smaller than Motel.
Is it in Hartford City?
Yes.
I used to go kart race in Hartford City for their
But
fairs.
because there was such a demand outside of that, then they started building apartments where people, like patio homes, where people could, but then they switched the need of it, went to the cottage homes, then became assisted living, and the apartments stayed the apartments. So just an idea, check it out, see what you
So
find.
does anybody make a motion? Does anybody want to make a
I'll make
motion?
the motion to allow cottage homes.
I'll second it.
Do you want to finish that first?
Yeah.
Oh, in single parcel development in R3 and
Subdivided.
subdivided parcels in R2 as a special use.
Is R3 a special use too? Yes.
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 Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, okay, we got there.
It's my first roll call.
We-
Oh, you seconded it? Okay. All right. Dan,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Justin, sorry.
Oh, you're almost better than me at names.
Yes. Yes.
And you.
And Chrissy, yes.
It's struggle. It's weird, isn't it?
It's the first one. Come on. Give me a
I
break.
didn't do it after 3, so it's okay.
Okay, so that was allow single parcel.
And then we're still gonna finish the requirements with you later.
Yeah.
We made a mess of that one, but we got through it, guys.
Sorry. First motion, the first roll call.
Love it. Say it again.
The what? What are you talking about?
You never heard the word kerfuffle?
No.
It's I don't know.
I've heard
And then
bump
as a
puzzle.
part of that, Marcellus, are you gonna work on like
Yes.
throwing together like standards?
We have to be the most entertaining planning board you deal with.
Might get saved.
Are the rest of this fun?
I
I
mean,
got from something.
now
so
you're
I've
the
been
only
using it.
So,
Oh,
Just like-
special.
so yes.
So what is favorite?
He can officially say that.
Marcellus, that also means they're the worst.
Oh,
That's a
Well,
good point.
way to have
Say it, though.
way to have the attorney ruin the vibe. Pretty
You're
typical.
glass half empty people.
Okay.
I don't know.
What's next?
What's next? What do you got for me?
All right. Next is the next factor for us to consider is the adaptive reuse of commercial
Hang on,
buildings
what do we
for
do?
residential use.
What did we do for the trailers? The trailer park. Did we vote on that?
We left it
We
alone.
left it.
I thought so. Okay,
Yes, left it as is.
go ahead.
So generally, municipalities with shrinking commercial demand and growing residential demand can benefit from zoning reforms that enable underutilized commercial properties to be converted to residential use. Given that one of the goals expressed in the comprehensive plan is increasing commercial properties, it doesn't really make sense to allow these kind of conversions.
So what was the conversion? Sorry.
It would be like allowing.
I'm really tired. I was up all over all day
Turning the
yesterday.
businesses downtown into houses.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, or like if there was like a disused office building. And so this is the second point that I was going to make is that there's not really any buildings in Lapel where this is appropriate anyway.
I don't think
I
we
have a
would want
question
that.
on
Yeah.
this, though. For example, the buildings downtown where the cake, not the new cake place, but the cake pop place next to the railroad tracks. If one wanted to keep the business lower level and then do apartments.
That's already allowed.
Yeah, this is different.
Cause they used to do it at the Bulldog.
So, I guess a
They
good
live up
a
there
good example of this
for years.
for you, it'd be, what was that place called? King Pizza?
Kingdom.
Kingdo. There we go. Thank you. Kingdo. That was a house.
Right,
Turned into a business.
right.
Zoned for a business. Now, if someone wanted to
Now they
easily
can't
turn
come
that,
back in and turn it
they
back
couldn't
into
turn
a
it back to the
Okay,
house.
fair, fair. I'm with you now.
It's like the log cabin we had to vote down.
Right.
yes.
They
Well,
wanted to.
well, we were gonna allow that, but the square footage is what hurt them on that one.
Right.
And after they'd already switched, they had lost their grandfather clause. So we didn't have the right to tell them legally. BZA would have to approve that.
So when we talked about this last time, we talked about doing an overlay for Main Street that would allow mixed use, so,
I mean, mixed use is already
or
allowed in
encourage, I guess we said.
in the downtown district. I think the discussion around an overlay district was perhaps providing additional, shall we say, aesthetic standards.
Oh, that's-
All the way down
But
there.
for some reason, I was thinking it came up with this conversation, because we were talking about how we're not opposed to residential.
It did, but then we said that was already allowed. So then we just wanted an overlay for
That's
building
what it was.
standards.
That's what it was.
Yeah, this like
So that way your houses have to look a certain way or lights have to look a certain way, like light posts.
Yeah.
basically the way that most communities zone their commercial districts, they don't allow residential in their commercial districts. So that's kind of what this is getting at, is like if you wanted to allow adaptive reuse of old commercial buildings,
Yeah.
you would then you would either have to create mixed use districts if you don't have them, rezone those areas for mixed use, or allow residential in some of your commercial districts to allow that conversion. And then there might also be like building code changes that you have to make, because obviously commercial buildings and residential buildings are not built the same.
I hear a mess,
It turns into a big mess, and
a kerfuffle.
it's certainly not something that,
Perfect.
like I wrote in my report, it's, there's not really anywhere in Lapel that it makes sense to adaptively reuse in this way anyway. So it doesn't make sense for us to go through the process of trying to figure all of that stuff out. And there's plenty of space for there to be new residential without having to convert commercial spaces, especially since we're trying to retain those and have more commercial businesses move into town.
I don't think it's something, I don't know how you guys feel, but I don't think it's something to worry about.
I wanted to ask about something that's slightly off topic, and I don't know when's the appropriate time to do that, or if there's an appropriate time
Public
that needs to
comment
do that.
Yeah, hang on. Can we get past this one?
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to open it up for public comment.
Agreed.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to close public comment and, or the public hearing and resume the planning commission.
And it may be, I don't know, maybe this is like when we get to the code enforcement piece. Just maybe think about this when we were talking about this. So I saw that someone was saying, there was some complaining online about the amount of residential or the amount of rental properties in Lapel, and how often rental properties are not maintained to the same standard as owner occupied properties. And they were saying, like, can we limit the amount of rental property, which I don't think we necessarily want to do, right? Because investment property, it is taxed at 2% versus owner occupied property 1%, so it does benefit the town. But I wondered if, and I don't know, William, you might be able to speak to this, if it's possible to create a registry for rental properties. Did I bring this up before, or did I dream this?
I think we've definitely talked about that before, but
Have
yeah,
we?
you can
Okay.
require,
You can actually charge a yearly fee to be
That's-
on a registry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bond or a fee or something
Yeah.
to help with.
A lot of states have a lot of towns, a lot of areas have went to that now.
Yeah,
I feel
okay.
like that's a good move too, but that to help encourage rental property
You
owners to keep up a standard.
Sometimes you can also even limit how, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, you can limit how many properties they can have under that
Hmm.
bond, or I say bond, under that license.
That requirement.
Yeah, so that way you don't have this big conglomerate come in and just turn Lapel into a slumlord town.
You mean before they go and start a new LLC property management company under different name?
Yeah,
So they can have 5 more?
before they do that,
I think
we make it a little harder.
I think something to consider, and I've seen this happen in Pendleton a lot, is you get investors from out of town, buy up all the properties, turn it into a rental property. They're nowhere near the property to keep an eye on it, to make sure it's being held.
Correct. And that's where I'm just getting at with the limit.
Yeah, but I mean, not only limit, but
Yeah.
per like company.
right.
Yes.
That's where I'm saying, yeah.
Because you can't, didn't Hamilton County try that, and didn't that get shot down? The limit on rental properties?
Yeah, well, HEA 1001, I think one of the provisions in it prohibited those kinds of.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, so we can't do that.
So
Well,
you can't prohibit how
you can't-
many
Yeah,
are in your
Fisher's
town.
had the 10% cap.
Yes,
per,
yes.
I think it was per
Oh,
subdivision.
that was total rentals
Total rentals.
versus
Not
how many one
one
company
company.
can
Yeah,
go.
correct, yeah, correct.
Because I'm just thinking per company, not
Yeah.
limiting how many
Yeah.
in town.
Yes.
Um,
So Blackwater comes in and wants to buy 50 homes and turn them into
Exactly.
rentals. We only allow them to buy 5.
Right.
yeah, whatever that
Yes.
number is.
I'm more.
I am 100% on board for that.
Yeah.
I'm more thinking in terms of like what Alicia said, you get somebody who's not a good renter, they're problematic, and then you're kind of limited on, number one, if you can even get a hold of and get a response from the property manager or the owner. And then for 2, they have no real,
I don't know how you would control that though.
Yeah, well, you'd have to, I mean, that would just have to be complaint driven because the renter is ultimately, they're in charge of the aesthetics and letting their landlord know that something's wrong. A landlord isn't legally required to stop by, right? A landlord doesn't have to stop by an amount of time to check on things. It is up to the renter to
Yeah, but
communicate.
But you do have housing standards.
yes.
Yeah, for sure. But that would be complaint driven. That would be
Yeah.
like us receiving a complaint, like, hey, this
Right.
yard or this house is.
Heck, they
whatever.
could even file an own complaint on their own home.
They
if they
could,
do that.
yeah.
I thought that was supposed to be online yet.
So-
we do that yet, Dan?
Hopefully here really
Okay.
soon.
It'd also be under the terms of their renting agreement would say a certain standards are to be withheld. If they're not holding them now, the owner's
And then
in contempt of his own agreement.
And then also to take into consideration, the building, for example, the building that, the ever-going auto repair shop has been, doesn't have heat, it doesn't have air, the windows are busted out, but yet we still have a rental sign.
I don't completely understand how that's getting allowed, but
Exactly my point. So is
There
there
was-
something that we could implement in there to where before each property can be rented out, they have to do a yearly annual inspection, so to speak, to
Right.
pass the
I don't know if
housing
you can do
standards?
that,
And
can
then
you?
maybe Dan could create something to track.
I think that's stretching the law there.
I'll double
Say
check
it again.
my.
They want a basically a inspection status where you got to get your rentals
If
yearly
you're going to be a
inspected.
renter, if you're going to rent out a house in inspection.
We have discussed doing a vacant or abandoned building registry. And
We need
if a rental were to sit for whatever we decide that amount of
It'd
time
become-
is, it would have to be registered under that, and that can be checked.
Yeah, I don't think you could check. I don't think you could legally force a check on.
No.
I'm just wondering if you couldn't get some kind of a deposit or a fee or something upfront from the property management
Nope.
company to where if your property gets out of control and I have to go we have to go mow it or we have to go.
I mean, you can do that. You can create you can,
Yeah.
no, but you can also can create a
We can
registry.
do that, and then we can.
You
Like
can-
if I have to send the
But
police
you
to
can
your
al-
property more than twice a year, I start charging
No,
that fee.
But you could also just, well, you can't start making special rules up,
So I'm just.
but you could
When
create,
you set it up.
you could create a registry. You could charge $250 for your registry. And then that registry only allows you to have X amount of homes. You can do that. I'm pretty sure you can legally do that, right?
I'll have to dig into that because you're getting into multiple.
Yeah.
You had said earlier you don't want
It's
to
multiple things.
stop what people can do with their land
Right.
typically.
Right.
Let me dig.
Well, it's not their land because we're telling them that they can only buy so many.
Right, but if they were to have, if they
If they currently have them, they're grandfathered in.
right, and that would be the difference, I think. So let me look at that a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
I wouldn't say anybody that didn't already own them. I'd say any properties owned after this date.
Right.
So you might stop someone from being able to buy more, but you're not stopping them from what they currently own. So we do have some people in town that could potentially say we put a cap on 5. We might have people. I know someone individual might have more than 5,
Yeah, exactly.
but that's fine. Like he's already got them, right? He's grandfathered in from the date of the ruling. He just wanted that person, individual, wouldn't be able to add any more at that point.
And like I said, let me dig into that. I know we can have a registry, but we enter into a little bit of a gray area by capping the number. Like we discussed, we had the Fishers that was ruled that you can't allow a certain percentage, and I don't know
Where's
what
that?
point, where that line is. Like, oh, we know that you're not allowing a percentage, or you're not basing it on a percentage of houses in there.
Technically, the whole town could be rented, but it's gonna have to be under X amount of owners.
Exactly. So I can prepare in preparation for the next round of this.
And I do see that being a problem in Lapel because a lot of our homes in town are affordable for companies to quickly grab and throw back out as rentals.
And really all I was,
And not that I care about rentals, but it's just, yes.
I mean, I care because people, but my point is more or less, I was just thinking that the property owners don't have a lot of skin in the game. They're making a profit off the property, even if there's compliant, compliance issues and they have to pay some fines, they're still making a profit if the rent gets paid. So there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of reason for them to get too involved in making sure these things don't happen if they don't have to live near it. So that's what I was kind of getting at. Was there something that we could do to encourage them to be invested in how the property's treated?
We'll let legal look into that. And
Yeah.
maybe we'll talk about that next month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
What do you have next? I'm not looking forward to this. This is so tiring. This ain't fun.
There's nothing,
If there's nothing to change about
I was gonna say, you have no action required.
Yeah. So the next section there is, or the next factor is increasing allowable floor area ratio. This will be easy. So floor area ratio is a measure of development density where you take the total floor area of the development of the building specifically, and then you divide that by the area of the parcel. Like I said, that's the total floor area. So you add up every floor. It's not just the footprint. I included a sample calculation there where if you were to take the minimum dwelling unit area and the minimum lot size from the R1 district, so that's 1,800 square feet of dwelling unit over 12,000 square feet of lot, then you have an FAR of 0.15. The UDO does not use FAR to regulate floor area ratios to regulate anything. So there is no limit on FAR, so there's no reason to increase the amount that's allowed because you can have any FAR. So no action required.
Sounds good. Next, unless we need to discuss that, but it sounds like we didn't.
Public comment that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this time, I'd like to stop the planning commission, open it up for public hearing.
No, sir.
All right, this time I'd like to close the public hearing and resume the planning commission. Next.
The next item is waiving or eliminating certain regulations. So there was a list there in the bill that included seven examples of the types of requirements they're asking us to consider. So I have a breakdown there of each of them. The first is garage size and placement standards. So Lapel's UDO doesn't have size and placement regulations that are specific to garages. Garages are, if they're attached, it's part of the house. So whatever standards apply to the house apply to the garage. And if it's detached, it's just treated as an accessory structure. And the standards for accessory structures, they have to comply with the setbacks. They have to be a certain distance from any other structures, including the primary structure. Those are pretty common standards. And like I said, they're not unique to garages. It's any accessory structure.
Do you have a question about this?
Yes.
And this is something you can talk to Dennis about. You see Dennis, don't you? So we've had a situation before where I was approached about a garage. They were wanting to expand it. But it exceeded what you could have, the accessory structures for residential. Then I talked to Dennis about it. Dennis says, no, since that's the garage doesn't have the same requirement. It only runs off the house size for the, how like your garage counts towards your house for your total lot coverage. So it does not count as a secondary structure because it is the garage, even though it's detached. So it was allowed. Are we saying that was wrong?
To my understanding, yes. The garage is,
I know which one I'm talking about, but that's how it got passed.
I'd like to know how it got passed too.
Well, that's how. I just told you.
I know.
yeah, so the garage,
Probably
Get him.
say nothing. Stay quiet. I look at it every night.
the garage, according to UDO, is a form of detached structure, and whatever rules apply to detached or accessory structures apply to detached garages. They count towards the lot coverage requirement, all of that kind of stuff.
Duly noted for next time.
Yeah.
FYI, if you get a chance, you might want to talk to Dennis about that one, just to save issues in the future.
Appreciate that. My reading of the inclusion of this as a topic of discussion is that I know that certain communities might require that a garage be might have requirements about where a garage is allowed to be located on the property, such as like requiring that garages be in the back so you can't see them from the front, and they must be accessed from the rear or from the side or something like that. And Lapel doesn't have any standards like that. So staff's recommendation is that there's no action required on the garage size and placement standards.
At this time, I'd like to stop the planning commission and open it up for public comment. I'd like to close public hearing and resume planning commission. Is everybody in agreement with that? There's nothing we really need to do. Okay, next.
The next certain regulation that was listed were roof standards. So the concern is that some communities might require really the balancing act here is that obviously there's a certain there are aesthetic reasons why you want to regulate roof pitch and materials and stuff like that. But there's also building safety,
Standards already.
that those are part of the concern as well, right? Because obviously shallower roofs hold on to snow better, and that can be a problem. But also steeper roofs get pushed by the wind easier, and so that's a problem as well. So you're trying to balance these aesthetic concerns with these safety concerns, and you're also trying to make sure that your roofs aren't too tall, but they're also not too shallow, especially here in Indiana because we get snow and
So we only allow 412 pitch roofs. That's it.
so
Everybody has the same pitch.
So currently in the UDO, the
Isn't that typical?
roof must have a pitch of at least 6 to 12, and gables of at least 8 to 12. And I'm not really understanding why there's.
Wait, you said 612?
Yeah.
I thought most homes were 412s.
No, most are 612.
Did I say that wrong?
Most are 612.
Oh man, never mind. That's why I'm an electrician and not a carpenter.
It's all right. My opinion about this is we allow 312 as long as it's a steel roof, because you can do a steel roof and a 312, no problem, and snow melts really easily. I think we could amend it to say we can have a 312 pitch as long
Right
as
now, it
it's steel
doesn't
roof.
say anything,
That's what I
does
was
it?
going to say is that so
Metal roof.
currently all the roof standards allow an applicant to submit their roof plans to the plan commission and have those approved. So the ordinance allows down to 312 as long as consistent with certain architectural styles, maybe materials. We can add that in there. Like I said, basically, a person can say, hey, I really want to build a property, or I really want my house to have a 312 pitch roof. I'm building it out of metal. Is that okay? And the ordinance currently authorizes language and say, yeah, that's okay. So there's no action required here. So there's no action required here, but I wrote here in my recommendation, if it's desirable to lower that pitch, that minimum required pitch, that's certainly an option, obviously. But it's not required, I don't think.
Ooh, sorry.
I think it sounded like from what I looked into that, the 612 pitch strikes a good balance between having a roof steep enough that snow will tend to slide off, but not so steep that you're gonna unnecessarily expose the roof to extra wind stress. So I think we're already, it sounds like we're kind of already in that sweet spot.
If structurally strong enough and we do a 112, then the snow acts, hear me out, as insulation. It could keep the house warm. Okay, that was a bad idea. All right.
It's all right.
I'm just kidding.
I like it.
I'm just kidding. I'm so tired.
Let's do it.
Let's open this up for public hearing.
Is that strictly for houses?
Yes.
It's commercial
on the
now.
new builds.
Yeah, commercial can have flat roof.
But what about a barn? I got a couple of barns. I'm assuming if I build a new one, I have to then.
That's
A bar, you say bar?
Barn.
Oh, barn, nothing said bar. It's like, sweet, man.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds good.
Barn.
Yeah.
So if I build a new one, is this something that I've got to abide by?
I think that's still fall under second
Yeah.
accessory structure. It'd be yes,
Yeah.
Thank you.
which is already what's currently
Yeah.
required. All right, at this time, I'd like to close the public hearing and return to the planning commission. Before we continue, I'm going to ask a question because there's a lot here.
Page 11.
Yeah, how far are we trying to get tonight? I'm gonna be honest, I worked till 8:30 last night, so I'm struggling. And then I got back up again this morning.
The next one is minimum lot size and square footage, and I feel like we're going to take a lot of time on that. I think we're going to get stuck there. So what if we tonight.
Kind of what I was thinking. I just,
Leave notes.
Unless you really want to talk about
No.
lot sizes tonight. I think that's good.
At this-
She
It's-
volunteers me for every.
at this time, I'd like to make a motion to table the rest of this public hearing to the next meeting on September 10th.
I'll second.
Sorry, before you guys vote,
Oh.
I want to make a suggestion here.
Okay.
Yes.
We don't have to go in this order. If you want to
Oh,
skip
okay.
this one, we can keep going through keep going through as many of the shorter ones. Because there's a lot of stuff in here where the recommended action is no action, and we can just keep ticking stuff off the list.
Well, if there's no action,
We still have to
We
talk
still
about
have to talk about it.
no, I'm just saying, so if there's no action on a couple, how long do you want to go? Are you done?
I'm asking you guys. I'm sticking it out with y'all. I was done before I showed up. So if I'm being honest, I was so tired.
Because yeah, I don't
Huh?
want
could
to
be
keep
done
us here if everyone wants to go, but I especially if we're not gonna be having additional meetings between every month, like we don't want
This is going to go out.
we don't want to be finishing this in September.
We don't?
September's.
I was gonna say
It's next month.
That's next week.
For-
It's next month.
we don't want to be finishing this in November
November, yeah,
Oh,
sure.
why?
because
We got the,
I mean we don't have
we got more.
we don't have to pass any of this stuff by the end of the year, but I have to write a report that lists everything that we talked about throughout all the public hearings, and so the longer this is taking, the less time I have to do that.
So don't you start that report now and just
Yeah.
have it?
There you go.
Literally.
I haven't been.
Are you procrastinating or something?
It's not that. It's that required. That's not part of my. That's not part of my currently signed contract. It's not part of
Okay.
my task orders.
Oh, yeah. You got a pen? I'll sign a new one.
So
New one.
Hey, we got one
Less
board
than
member
5,000.
here. We can pass it.
If it costs less than $500.
5,000.
Okay, oh gosh.
Yeah.
You're not gonna let me spend $5.
Oh, what does it matter what she spends 5,000 on?
That's just what our cap is for individual items. 5,000.
What?
Ooh, we could have some fun.
Snakes again.
Yeah.
How long before she can hit her cap again? Is that like monthly or?
I think it's per item.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
what happened to the town's budget? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Marcellus is with us, though. That's all that matters.
We're all in money.
Teresa will be calling me, what is this bill?
Yeah, seriously.
So, are you saying that we should keep going tonight, or
I'm saying that would be a good idea, and that way you can
Okay, then let's knock out a couple of the easy
All
ones.
right.
Let's skip this next one because I feel like they were gonna stick. Would everyone agree that we're gonna
Yes.
spend a lot of time on minimum lot and square
We're gonna
footage?
get this one out.
just tell me what page to flip to the nose?
Well, we're gonna be here for half an hour anyway.
Setbacks. Let's do setbacks, Marcellus. That looks easy.
all right.
Page 13.
There it is. Just pass it. Okay.
They look great.
Setbacks look good.
So, setbacks, I think we all know what those are. Larger ones are appropriate for larger buildings. Smaller setbacks are appropriate for smaller buildings. There's not much room for setbacks to get any smaller than what they are currently. And there's no reason to suspect that they're inhibiting any development. Nobody's really nobody's struggling to not meet those standards in terms of building new housing. I don't think so. Staff recommendation, no action required.
I'd like to at this time open it up for the public hearing. I'd like to close the public hearing, resume the planning commission. All in favor of moving on? Yep. Unless you guys disagree. Once, twice, go.
Okay, let me go to the next one that has no action required, because buffer yards, I recommended an action, and then we have off-street parking. That's gonna be
The page. Just tell me the pages.
material standards, architectural design standards, building height. That will be on page.
23.
23. So to summarize that whole section, Lapel is largely a 1 to 2 story town. There aren't many buildings taller than that. Certainly not many homes, if any. The current height restrictions in the residential districts are consistent with having 1 to 2 stories. So there's no reason to suspect that that's a barrier to housing production. So no action required.
This time I'd like to open it up for the public hearing.
No comment.
This time I'd like to resume the planning commission. Any comment? Next.
This gets into then all of the permitting processes.
Yeah, that gets long.
I've already voted on that.
Yeah, we did, but since it was before this whole process, we have to
Gotta
like
do it again.
we have to like go like talk about it for the sake of this hearing again.
So are you recommending additional action on that?
Not on most things. I'd say overall with the permitting processes, there's none of them, now that we've made the changes that I would certainly recommend that we make. There's no need to make recommendations, but I do think there's things to be considered and talked about as far as if there's any ways to kind of help streamline some of the processes, just because, for example, any process like rezoning or PUD that requires us to go from this body to town council really pushes us up against that 90-day limit on decisions. Just because both bodies only meet once a month and their meetings are back-to-back weeks. So that makes it difficult to like, if this body decides something, it makes it difficult for town council to be able to really review it by the time their next meeting is. And then so usually it gets pushed back another month, and that just kind of extends the timeline. So I think there's maybe stuff to talk about there. So I don't want to rush through it. I want us to have the time to like really kind of think about that one. But there are some in here that we can kind of, I think, quickly go through.
About 14 hours yesterday's catching up with me.
Need a Red Bull?
I can't do those with my heart.
Oh, that's very good.
We can go to minor residential subdivision and major subdivisions.
Hang on 1 second. The schools are calling.
The schools
It's
are
just
calling.
delayed.
The schools are calling.
Oh, you already saw it?
They delayed.
It's in the-
Just for everybody watching, Lapel's on a 2-hour delay in the morning.
So we can go to minor residential subdivision on page 28.
Address announcer now. People are going to tune in for updates from Matt Wood.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week.
Not live,
Be outside.
Oh, there's the text message.
That's funny.
Which one did you say, Marcellus? I'm sorry.
Minor residential subdivision on page 28.
Thank you. All right.
So we just replaced this process. We just adopted to replace the administrative subdivision. Requires TAP review as well as a public hearing. Combines the preliminary and final plat into a single plat, saving time. Process takes this new process now takes can take anywhere from 28 to 49 days, depending on how long that TAP review is, and the lead time up to the public hearing. Compared to at least 38 days for the process it replaced. So on really simple minor residential subdivisions, it should save us a lot of time. No action required.
This time I'd like to open it up for public hearing. This time I'd like to close the public hearing and resume the planning commission. Any comment? That's pretty. What?
Negative.
Oh, okay. I thought someone started to say something. All right. Next.
Next is a major subdivision. So just the next page there, or page 30. Major subdivisions require a pre-application meeting so that I can explain everything to the applicant. It's technically three sequential processes. It's not a single process. So there's a preliminary plat process, construction plan, and final plat. Since each of those is a separate application, we look at the timeline for each of those separately. The preliminary plat takes 28 to 49 days, requires TAC approval and a public hearing. Then construction plans are reviewed and approved by the technical advisory committee, and that takes at least 15 days. So that can be as short as that. And then once they've got their preliminary plat and their construction plans, they build the public improvements, and then they submit their final plat. That is reviewed by the TAC, so that's 15 days there. And then the improvements are inspected by the building inspector, by the town's utilities department, whoever else might need to inspect those improvements. And then the town council has to accept any right-of-way dedications that are made. So that extra town council part and the inspections part can kind of extend the timeline beyond that like 15 to 21 day TAC review. But all in all, each process is well within that 90-day limit, so no action required there.
This time I'd like to open it up for public hearing. On the topic, I'll close public hearing and resume the planning commission. Is there any discussion on the topic of major subdivision? Nope. You good, Dan?
Yeah.
Next.
Next is subdivision waivers. Those are submitted at the same time as.
What page are we on?
Oh, it's
33.
33.
Okay.
Next is subdivision waivers. Those are submitted at the same time as a preliminary plat, and so they're therefore part of that decision. It's not a separate decision process. So that same timeline applies. No action required there as well.
This time I'd like to open it up for public hearing. This time I'd like to close public hearing and resume planning commission. Any comment? Next.
Next is
For you guys joining in, do you have any questions? Sorry, since you just joined in. We're redoing the. You want to explain to them real quick?
basically the state has passed requirements that we need to discuss our housing standards, our development standards for the residential districts during the public hearing. So that's what we're doing here tonight.
Yeah, we've been listening.
Perfect. Next is building permit procedures. There's technically two types of permits. There's improvement location permits,
Where are you at now?
This is
34.
Okay, thank you.
next page. Improvement location permits are a broader category. Building permits are technically like a subset of improvement location permits. They're reviewed by the building inspector. Basically, they're by law, the review of these is required to take place within 7 days of a permit application being submitted. Inspections need to be scheduled. I think it's within 3 days of someone or calling in to request one. And so there's really no space for those timelines to get any shorter. A week, 3 days, that's about as short as you can get there. So no action required.
This time I'd like to open it up for the public hearing. I'd like to close public hearing, resume planning commission. Any comment on building permit procedures?
No, sir.
Next.
Next is BZA applications, BZA procedures. That's on the same page, bottom there. All petitions requiring BZA approval have the same process, which is the length of which is determined by the meeting calendar schedule for the BZA. You know, they meet once a month, just like all the other town boards do. So the process takes anywhere from 28 to 49 days, depending on when when in that calendar cycle the person submits their application. The only way to shorten that process would be to require to have more BZA meetings, and I don't think there's any interest in doing that. So no action required.
This time I'd like to open it up for public hearing. This time I'd like to close public hearing and resume planning commission. Any comment?
Not for me.
Alrighty.
All right. The next one is one-stop permitting.
I was about to ask you what that was.
Yes. So one-stop permitting refers to the ability to submit, track, and manage any and all necessary permits and petitions in one place. This is usually handled through some kind of online portal. Currently, we technically have two stops. There's forms that are submitted to the building inspector that you have to come into town hall to pick up and submit kind of in person. And then there are applications for Plan Commission and BZA, which you can find online. But you still really have to submit them in person. So we don't have a one-stop permitting system. However, the volume of applications we receive makes it so that isn't really an impediment. It's not slowing us down. You know, I think I certainly have plenty of time to view the few applications I get. I mean, I haven't even received a BZA application yet all year. I mean, we just had our first meeting two days ago. So, so I don't think there's any action required here in terms of trying to make it one stop. So yeah, no action required. Did that explain
It did.
what it is? Okay.
At this time, I'd like to open it up for public hearing. This time, I'd like to close public hearing and resume planning commission.
I've got one thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, heavens. Is it on, if you go to lapel.org right now, isn't there a permit, like, can you click on it?
It's a PDF that you can fill out, but all
Okay.
you can do then is print that PDF
Okay,
and then
that's
bring
fine.
it in with you.
Okay. Because I know a while back we had talked where there was something where it was actually, you could fill out something online. I don't know if you guys are here for that, but there was something,
Updated those.
but I didn't know if that had been,
Recently.
okay. And there might not.
Nothing that I
Okay,
know.
nothing.
I've combed through 99% of the
Okay.
site, and I don't think there's anything actually that you, like I said, you can enter the information there, but all that does is then you have to print it.
Okay, yes.
So with the upcoming development, yes, while we're right now only having our first meeting last week, well, we need to be forward thinking. We need to be thinking about the development within the town, the 13 corridor. We have excellent resources right now that I feel like we need to take full advantage of.
Mhm.
And could you?
I already made a note that I think that we
This
should just
needs
make
fixed.
all
One stop.
forms, unless legal has some that they don't want that. I think we'll make all forms on the website where they can be filled out, and then that way they're saved. You know, we'll have them in a secure location. They'll be backed up, and then we can have electronic versions of that for whoever to be dispersed.
Yes.
And then we can set that up to where it'll email the appropriate person when that form has been submitted, like yourself, to let you know that it's in there. I mean, that's an easy thing to
Yeah,
add
I
on.
mean,
Easy, great.
we're very blessed in having your resources, and I feel like we need to be forward thinking and streamline this because there's no sense in having this form go here, this form go here, this form go here. Let's be forward thinking and get in the realm of now.
I agree.
Well, I think it's a little prehistoric to have a form that you fill out, but then you have to
Exactly.
print it and
Exactly.
write
Yeah.
it somewhere.
Yeah.
And,
It'd be like
you know,
faxing it.
I mean, so I kind of can see that both ways. I think I like the idea of being able to submit it online so that you can have storage for that document as well. So then, you know, you can have some kind of confirmation that it was submitted, as well as a way to track it. But are there instances where it makes sense to have people bring it in so they can maybe discuss their application in case?
Well, I think the processes where that makes the most sense generally are, no, not generally, all already require a pre-application meeting.
Okay, that's
But to your point, I mean, I think that, you know, I'm only physically in town hall on Thursdays in general, but, you know, I'm available for consultation, you know, not like literally anytime, but
Within reason.
within, yeah, so, you know, if someone is applying for something and they want to talk, you know, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, we can set something up. If I'm available right at that moment, I can answer whatever questions you have. If you want to show me something, you can email it to me, you can wait until I'm in town hall and bring it to me.
It's also nice for, I mean,
fair enough.
someone like me, I am never in Lapel when the town hall is open.
Right.
I literally have to use time from work to make it to town hall when they're open.
Okay.
Is this something can we authorize that? Like for him to build what are we, a one-stop, like can we do that?
Well,
I know someone's gonna, hey, is that over $5,000?
We are, well,
I would think they would recommend.
we are in the process of working on a contract to enter into for technological services. So because of that aspect of it, absolutely not. It would have to go to the town
So we
council.
need to table it for now.
Unless it's under $5,000.
That's technically correct, but we
Let's
Can
just
we send
clarify.
it to the council as a recommendation that we would like that
Yeah,
added
yeah.
to
Let's-
our
yep.
agenda?
This time, I agree. So at this time, yeah, you're right.
Does it
Sorry.
have
Thank
to be
you.
a recommendation? Does it
I'm here
have
for
to
you,
be
but I can't.
now?
I'm here for you.
I was gonna vote on it and send it as a recommendation. Even if it's not needed, then it's done.
At least you can take it to the.
It's
The
formal.
reason I'm recommending it that way is because in that conversation around what we would like Dan to do, we're
Right,
making a
so,
list.
yeah.
Does that make sense? So it would
Yeah.
get potentially
Yeah.
added to that list.
At this time, I'd like to open it up for the public hearing. I'd like to close public hearing and resume planning commission. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to send a favorable recommendation to add one-stop permitting for Dan's list of things to do to the town council.
I will make a recommendation to send a one-stop shop parallel processing permitting to the town council.
I'll second.
Dan?
I abstain.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you'd vote no. You didn't want more work. No, no.
I'm sorry, it's only my second one, I'm sorry. It's a little better.
Hey, your guys are waking me up. So
Who made that motion again?
Justin,
And then who seconded it?
Alicia. That will make them where the syllables too.
do what?
That will make them down to where it's syllables where, well.
Yeah, it'd just be, there'll be online forms replacing the PDFs that are there now, and then they'll just be,
Streamline.
yeah, on the back end of the site, you'd be able to filter by the type of form, and
the
then
signature.
emails would go to the appropriate people.
We've done a ton, and we got 10 minutes left to go through the rest. So I think we're gonna stop now for this.
Okay.
Finish out the last 10 minutes. We got good 2 hours. I'd say after next meeting, if you do not feel like in September that we're in a good spot, then we'll throw an extra meeting on the agenda. Does that work for you? Does that work for everybody else?
Yes,
But
sir.
it has to be extra meetings in September. Hunting season starts in October. My husband will
Because
be
you're gonna
gone,
be
I have to be
gone.
home to do everything.
I was gonna say.
I'm
That's
hunting
why
widow,
she's gonna be on the next meeting.
What do you have to be home to do?
everything, yard work, everything.
You said till November?
No, I mean,
We don't want to drag this out that long.
we could easily do it again in September. Well, no, how long? We have to give so long for another public hearing date.
Huh?
We have to give what?
30 days.
We have to give 30 days for a public hearing.
Yeah.
30, I thought it was 10. Is it 30?
Isn't it 30?
How many days we gotta give notice, Will?
For the
William?
Public
special
hearing,
meetings?
for public hearing.
10, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I
okay.
keep calling him Will, I don't know why I can't get his name right.
I don't know it. I just don't call him lawyer.
Lawyer.
Objectifying.
I'm really bad with names.
All right, I'll let you.
We're all gonna get that. We all need that.
Okay,
Sparky.
Kristen
All
can't
right.
remember their names.
So do you have to do close?
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta keep going.
Okay, so now we're moving on to new business, right?
Yeah, new business is none. Planning commission discussion. We got a planning administrator report.
Yes. To be brief. So, BZA case updates. I believe at last meeting, there was a gentleman here that was asking a question about temporary occupancy of an RV or trailer
Yes.
while the home is under construction. Staff has not received any application about that matter yet.
Application, so you mean written?
No complaints.
No complaints? Okay.
Well, no, I mean, like, we had talked about, what had been recommended at the meeting was that, he
Oh,
submit
Yeah.
an application for
Well,
special use.
he was under the impression that he wasn't going to do it until there was a complaint. So I guess I was getting at, was there a complaint
It's
at this
gone
point?
now, so the,
He's back.
oh,
Can I ask a question about that? There was a concern raised that there might actually be an ordinance for that. Have we had a chance to investigate that?
I don't,
I've looked and haven't found one.
You
you know,
haven't found
I've
one?
never seen one and I've looked.
Okay.
You would, that car shop at 22
Yeah.
West Pendleton, that had been mentioned earlier.
mm,
At the time of writing this report, I'd been in talks with somebody who was looking to rent, a pair of gentlemen who were looking to rent that out and, open a by appointment only, car dealership. So I think the state requires them to park have a certain number of cars like on display on the property. So that would be the only cars that you would see on the outside. They were gonna fix the place up and all of that, but I found out last Friday that deal unfortunately fell through. So that's the update on that one. And I had also spoken to the contractors for they've been hired by the gas station at Main and 32 because they had to move their sign for the roundabout construction. I went out there. I was expecting it. They had asked about a variance because they wanted to. Basically, their sign was a little oversized to what we allow. But I went out there this morning, and while they have already installed the sign that they installed is smaller than the one that they had asked about for that would have required the variance. So it looks like they were able to trim the sign down and get it down to something that wouldn't require a variance. So those are the BZA case updates. I have no other development updates, and there are no other administrative matters. So that concludes this month's report.
Next on the agenda is code enforcement case updates.
We haven't had any more go to court. There's been an uptick in complaints, but it seems like they're all getting resolved prior to heading to my department. So we've got that going for us.
Sounds good. This time, we make a motion to adjourn the meeting, with the next meeting being September 10th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'll be